All right.
We're back, baby.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back.
American Fan Podcast,
Segment
Fletch
2.
and Nick Show, segment number 2 of episode 21. We are legal. Me and Nick are going to get loaded and drink heavily after this episode. No, I'll probably do that alone. But, episode 21,
I'll probably just
I
pick
can't
up a
believe
McDonald's
it.
Coke
Super
on the way
happy
home.
little milestone. Like, anything past 20. I mean, sometimes I think, like, yeah, we're just doing this in the barn. We're trying to create content to bring some eyeballs to information that we want to change society for the better. We like to give our opinions.
We only want to improve. We're not trying to just say, hey, you guys should just agree with us. No. We're just trying to say, hey, you're humans that I think can make a difference in your communities and your culture, and eventually probably bring that up to the institutions that continuously want to put you under their boots.
Correct.
So that's just the way it is. I wanted to kick this off in this episode. Talking about something, as the last episode say, we all talked about this lovely thing that Trump is doing with Venezuela. Oh my goodness,
God, that's crazy.
Like, that's a little more interesting about for you guys that I'm very passionate about. You're quite passionate about it yourself, given your field of expertise, Fletch, and that's Rand Paul,
health and wellness.
Yeah, health and wellness, especially.
Yeah, this is great, ladies and gents. Tune in.
You're going to love this.
This is great because I was not aware of this before Nick told me.
Yeah, and I'm very angry about this, especially given who I like and one of the few politicians I actually respect. I'm not going to fully trust because I don't trust any politicians. I am consistent on this. But that's what about what Rand Paul mentioned recently on Joe Rogan's podcast. And although I haven't watched it fully, I only watched about 15 minutes. I'm still watching it right now. Great show. I love it. And Rand Paul and Joe Rogan together, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Mm-hmm. Very informative. It definitely debunks a lot of the left-wing lies that say he's just a failed dentist. It's not true, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. His father's was a doctor, I think still is, and Rand Paul's been right on quite a number of things.
They try to character assassinate everybody.
Well, they try to character assassinate when it comes to what I'm about to mention, and that's his views on COVID and Anthony Fauci. Ugh. And the reason why I'm bringing this up now, Anthony Fauci, by the way, another criticism I have of the Trump administration. I'm telling you right now, I think what the left criticized Trump for regarding COVID was true, just not for what they were saying. They were saying, oh, Trump didn't do anything about COVID. He did. He was just not that great with it. But the reason why we're talking about all this is per the leading report, and I've referenced this page before, they haven't really gotten things wrong. They mentioned true quotes like, hey, people, according to MSNBC poll, think Gavin Newsom is going to win. They've said that before. They said, I mentioned on one of my episodes, I can't remember what episode it was, but when RFK Jr. was talking about going after video games because of gun violence and mental illness and stuff like that, I've referenced what RFK has said, wanted to do. But then I mentioned the credit where credit is due to RFK Jr. regarding health, and that's that thing I told you about, like McDonald's investing, what was it, $300 billion, I think, into like a healthier option for their foods. Again, not saying I suggest you go get McDonald's as a substitute for real, healthier food, but if you're a fast food restaurant going for a healthier option, I will give you a thumbs up for that one. But at
least it's a movement in a minute direction.
Yeah,
right?
And again, you gotta give credit where credit's due. If they go a little bit further, like if an alcoholic only drinks 5 bottles of beers instead of 7, that's a good thing.
It's a step.
It's a step that they took.
Right.
Per the leading report, the Trump D.O.J. will not take up any of Senator Rand Paul's referrals to investigate Anthony Fauci. And I think that is one of the most disgraceful things the Trump administration has ever done. I mean, like, there's the Epstein files, and then there's that. I think it's that bad. And the fact that this is a self-defeating, it's a self-defeating matter for the Trump administration and the American right. Trump ran on the reason. Look, you can give your thoughts on this. I'm just going to say it flat out for the average Joe here. Not the way I would frame it, but I'm going to say the way that the general public will probably view it. Donald Trump lost the 2020 election because of COVID. Everyone agrees, whether you think the election was stolen or it was fraudulent but not changed the election, whatever your thoughts are on this, everyone will agree. People on the fraudulent election side and the people that are on the normal election side, everyone will agree. You might agree too, Fletcher. Pierce Morgan has mentioned this. If COVID had not happened, Trump would have won consecutively. He would have won 2 terms in a row instead, not consecutively like he did these last 2 times. They say if COVID didn't happen, Trump would have been the president.
I would agree with that.
You would agree that if COVID didn't happen, he just would have
I think it would have been super... I think it would have been tight. I don't think he would have won in a landslide, but I think COVID was, to me, one of the biggest factors of... Because it just... But that's an episode for another day.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And so the way I look at it is this. Trump had Fauci on during COVID, and he was the same person who said the masks don't work and all that. And then he was like, oh, yeah, you got to wear a mask. It works perfectly fine. Oh, I never funded gain-of-function research and all that. It's one of the most evil people, by the way, who got a pardon from the Biden administration, by the way, even though he had never been charged with a crime. He never was a felon or a criminal or anything. But yet he got a pardon before anything else, right before Biden walked out of the White House.
Of course.
And I would argue he is one of the biggest reasons for the disaster in our health industries right now. And he, again, regardless of your views on 2020, if I were a part of the Trump admin, I would say that he cost me my job. If people say, if unanimously the world agreed that Trump lost because COVID came around and messed everything up, but people didn't want to go out. People were saying they were tired of the chaos and they voted for Joe Biden or independent or whatever. I would look at it as, you cost me my job. You robbed me of my opportunity to continue doing this. So the fact that the D.O.J. is refusing for a Republican, well, actually a Libertarian, he just is registered Republican, is going after Anthony Fauci for his involvement with gain-of-function research in China, it's disgraceful.
It's pretty disgusting.
Anthony Fauci, I think, is one of the top 10 worst people of United States history, modern history at least. Yeah. He's a horrible human being.
Just on what he did with COVID, but I mean, if you want to research,
the AIDS crisis. Look at the AIDS crisis. Joe Rogan talked about that with
what he did during that, the whole AZT, the scam of that drug that Fauci was firsthand involved in. You want to read a book, and I'll recommend it because I think the author is a tremendous human being. Again, I don't agree with everything that Bobby, I have the best Bobby. But I mean, the real Anthony Fauci, if you read that, and it's a very difficult book to read, and I love when people are like, oh, RFK Jr., Bobby Kennedy's a nut job.
He's an anti-vaxxer.
He's just off the reservation. He eats like rodents or what. I mean, they got all sorts of crazy character assassinations. He wrote a book, and I think it's like a 300-some plus page book. If he was
is that big, small, or average? I'm not a book reader.
It's a read. You have to. I've read it 1.5 times. I skimmed it the second time to try and get. Kennedy's brilliant. I mean, he doesn't sound brilliant because of the affliction that affected his voice. But if you hear him when he was younger, he's actually a brilliant man. I don't say that because he's a Kennedy. He doesn't look at himself as royalty. He's just a very bright guy that had a drug addiction. He had a lot of trials and tribulations in his younger years. But, I mean, he's a bright guy. He's a lawyer. He's a constitutional lawyer. He's never lost against a pharmaceutical company.
He's never lost a case. He's never been defeated.
In that realm, I think he has lost a case, but not against any type of food manufacturing or pharmaceutical company. That's a big statement. I mean, because you're going against people that are humongous. You want to talk about big money. What's bigger money than pharmaceutical companies or food Monsanto and those type of companies? You know, the glyphosate. I mean, he's made transcendent directions and movement for the benefit of humanity, for the benefit of the way foods are made, you know, the drugs that are out there. I think he's been a little handcuffed as the Secretary of Health, you know, but that's beside the point. But he wrote a book. I diverge a little bit. I digress. We're going to go back to Nick, but the real Anthony Fauci. The guy's a scumbag. I don't care if Anthony's sitting right here. I don't wish you anything bad. Dude, you should just rot in a jail cell for the remainder of your living days.
It's funny how they say
he's a disgusting human being. He doesn't care about anybody else. He's like got psychopathic tendencies. If you study the history of his decision making, there's no value. There's no soul to a person like Anthony Fauci. You know what I mean? You can disagree with a person like Bobby Kennedy. I got people like that in my life all over the place, but I have respect for him. He's got a soul. He's a credible human being. Anthony Fauci is not. I don't want to be anywhere around a person like that.
No, I know. And you know what's crazy about someone like Fauci? And I'll say this for everybody, yes, including the Trump administration and the Biden administration, anyone. The fact is, and look, I'm not a doctor. I don't know all of their procedures, but I do know one thing. If a nurse or a doctor prescribed a medication, and obviously you can't tell what goes on in the person's mind, you can only go by the record, and they prescribed a medication they know was really bad for a patient, like life-threatening. It could kill their heart, kill their brain, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If they did that, they knew the protocol, they went with it anyway, they'd go to jail. Now, I don't know for how long, because there's different legal protections. They say, look, like they're not going to say that the nurse committed murder, but they're going to find them liable for the person like died and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're not going to say it's like first, second, third degree murder. They're going to say, look, you got a patient killed and you were irresponsible, so you're going to get fired. You're going to have a lot of legal stuff. You might, at best, graciously, you will lose your medical license. Like, you'll never be able to do that again. Fauci did that 10 times over by saying the masks don't work, but then they do. Lockdowns work fine, and you won't get COVID if you get vaccinated. Even though it's not ready yet, you should still get vaccinated. That right there, you should go to prison for the rest of your life.
Right.
And I've made this very clear. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I've got vaccines, and my medical record, because I work in a hospital, I'm cleared for some of the stuff that I got vaccinated for. I'm all for it, guys. You think it's good for you? Whatever. Please, do it. I'm not going to say don't do it. You want my thoughts. I'm going to say that off here because I'm not going to be held liable for a lawsuit.
I know what you're saying.
But the fact is, COVID did not prevent. It did not prevent transmission. It didn't prevent people from getting it.
The vaccine,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work that way. Now, look, if it's worked now, great. If you're an elderly person, you have a lot of high morbidity, I think that's what it's called, and you're 85 years old, you know what? Maybe you should do it. I don't know. But if you spread false information like that and you got millions of people injured or killed, you should be going to prison for that alone.
1,000%.
And Fauci did that tenfold over what any flawed nurse or doctor has ever done. And the fact that Rand Paul has actually been trying to do something about this for many years now. People say, oh, Rand Paul, he's a weakling, like he never fulfilled his promise going after Fauci. Yeah, because people are blocking him. Because he is so alone in this fucking battle.
Agreed.
He is so alone, and I can't stand this crap.
Is there any reasoning? Here's a good question for you. Maybe you know, maybe you don't, or maybe you have an idea. Why is it just a personal thing with Trump that he's informing the D.O.J. to block Rand Paul's access to
that part? I don't know. I'm not.
I would think. I mean, I'm just talking off the. Now, obviously, I don't have substantiation that that's the case, But I'm thinking, just like because that's how Trump acts. He acts in a reactionary, way. Considering and he tries to make it a personal matter. He just on stage last week, he called Rand Paul a loser. I don't know if you heard that. He said it twice in a speech.
Who?
Trump. He goes, he's a loser. If it wasn't for me, he wouldn't have got reelected. I had to go down there and help that loser out. So that's what I'm saying. I'm assuming that it's going down that line of why he's blocked. Because Fauci is obviously not a good human being. Why would you block any
First he attacks Thomas Massey, he attacks Rand Paul now.
Rand Paul was on Piers Morgan for like 20-25 minutes, and Rand Paul just chuckled about it. He goes, I've golfed with, Donald Trump. I've hung out with, President Trump. I don't have anything bad to say. I mean,
see, this is a disagreement that I have with Rand Paul. This is why I like him.
I think I love him as a human being. I love listening to him.
But as a political figure, he's kind of weak.
He's too nice.
He is too nice.
But
his dad is not afraid to say anything. He will say,
I think that's the problem with. I don't know.
You would think that would be passed down to his son, but I guess not.
But I mean, Paul. I mean, I gotta admit, Rand Paul is honest and true to himself. That's who he is. He's a good guy. He's a guy you and I would hang out with. I go out to dinner.
I would.
He's a great guy to have a conversation
with. If I'm ever in Kentucky, I'm going to try to track down where he might be, because not where he lives. I don't want to know. I don't want to know his address.
That would be great.
But like his general area, like, hey, Senator, how are you doing? Like,
what happened to Nick on the American Fan podcast? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sad to inform you of the following information, but he's been detained. He went to Rand Paul's house. And he showed up at an hour that was inappropriate, but he'll be back for episode 37. He'll just be detained for the next 14 months. But other than that, I like Rand Paul a lot. I agree with you. I think if there was a knock on him, if you could put like one thing that you would want him to improve upon, it would be to be a little more forceful in retaliation. You can do that in a tactful way. I think he thinks any type of to be called a loser on a national platform, I think it was twice. I know it was twice for sure. It might have been 3 times. Trump was on stage talking about something, and then he just brought up Rand Paul on purpose. And I think it was maybe because of this, it's like a personal thing, because Rand Paul and Massey don't fall in line and vote the way that Trump wants them to. He did. I remember now on Piers Morgan, he did say, meaning Trump, he goes, they call themselves Republicans, but, these people, they don't, they don't have this problem on the left. They all get together and they're cohesive. He didn't use that word, but they're all together. But, I got a loser like this guy in Kentucky, Rand Paul, that's it. I was like, whoa, that's totally unnecessary, but that's just true. It's like a circus. I now know when some of the people get frustrated on the left with him. I'm like, dude, this guy's president now. We got 3 more years of this. I go, dude, you gotta do what you said you were gonna do.
I said Biden wasn't an asshole to the veterans. Yeah, he hasn't.
He's done the immigration, like I say. It was 45 days in, and I was like, oh my God.
I don't think he's doing well enough with that either. He's not going hard enough. He's not actually trying to change the system. He's just trying to tackle the problem that the left created. He's not tackling the central issue. He's attacking the problem they created. And I'm not going to say, let's just say I got some family members, and the 3 of each of us are like a married family couple that I love dearly, and the one I was talking with him on the phone, And he was saying, we're looking like a dictatorship right now because, like, he's not a Trump supporter, he's not a Democratic supporter either. And he was saying, all this stuff. And I eventually pointed it out, not to take blame away from Trump and ICE. I think if you do something wrong, you do something wrong, and so on and so forth. You already talked about this in the last episode regarding the ICE shooting in Minnesota. And eventually I said, I hate to say this, but this is a problem created by the Democrats. It started with them. And he said, 1,000%. You know what I told my wife? I said, because she's pissed about the whole thing. And he said, okay, yeah, I agree with you. You know you have to blame for this asshole being in office? Blame your party.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Because he said you could have governed better. You could have been the better person. You could have been the hero of the story. You could have defeated Trump tenfold. But what did your party do? You opened the border wide open to oppose Trump and tell us men can get pregnant.
And here we are.
And here we are. The reason why ICE is out there right now is because your party said we shouldn't have locked doors. Because that's literally their position. They might as well say, no, just let these people in. Okay, guys, if you support open borders, there should be no lock that you have. You should have a lock at your door. You should have a lock at your room door. Just let the people in. This is your position, right? Leave it open. Bring them all in. Okay, why don't they stay at your place then?
Wide open.
Leave it wide open if that's the case. And I like this when they say, well, law enforcement doesn't have a right to ask for papers and stuff like that because it's a federal thing. Okay, the fact is legally you are correct, but the fact of the matter is, if you're in my homeland illegally, you're not supposed to be here. Bottom line. If I enter a government building, I made this comment on Facebook and Twitter. If I enter a government building, they say I'm not allowed in. Like the front desk says, look, you're not allowed to proceed for whatever reason.
Gotcha.
You need to make an appointment. You're causing trouble, whatever. And I'm not allowed in. And I sneak my way through. I like sneaking through the back door or something like that. And I enter for the next 7 floors or something like that. And they say, yeah, come on in. It's this way. And I'm looking for where I would want to go or something. The fact is even though those people let me in, I did that illegally sneaking in. I'm not supposed to be there to begin with.
Correct.
And that's the way I apply to immigration. Now look, I don't think that if you're an illegal but you're paying taxes, you're contributing to society, you're building a family, you're helping your communities and stuff, I don't think you should be tackled to the ground and deported and stuff. I don't believe that. Again, that's a criticism I have of the Trump administration. They are treating them like they would treat a violent criminal that killed that Ukrainian lady on the bus or killed Laken Riley. Those people need to be tackled and masked and deported. They need to be kicked out of this country, whatever. But the central problem with immigration is the left says leave it open, and the right says let it be legal, and we'll bring them in and make it legal. After 27 years, you're referring to family member. It's a load of nonsense. It takes 27 years to become a U.S. citizen. Ridiculous. Take everyone who's overstayed their visas, they want to establish residency, just make them legal. And there you go. Okay, you are an American citizen now. Here's your green card or whatever you need to vote, and you get all these extra perks or so. Okay, that's all you have to do. But no, these two parties want to have an issue and say the left is crazy because they leave everything open, and then the right is crazy because they are rounding people up that are illegal citizens, and they're monsters are doing because it reminds you of Nazi Germany, which is a load of BS. It didn't start. It was never like that. Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany. They purposely told Jewish neighbors to go against them because they were a dangerous society, to sell them out so they could be imprisoned and tortured and killed and burned to death. It's not the same thing. I don't care if we look like a dictator country because we're forcing. Again, that's the one thing I do agree with the Trump administration on. But I know I've delved away from what I was talking about
we'll
initially.
just come full circle and get back to the Rand Paul Fauci
big
issue.
The big problem here is just the fact that I cannot believe that people like Thomas Massey and Rand Paul are being attacked because we say, look, we can't fund Israel. We want the files, the Epstein files released, and we want.
Right?
You guys said America first.
This is such basic stuff, am I right?
Yeah, it's just like they say, build back better. Okay, what are you trying to build back better under the Biden administration? Well, you weren't doing anything when you were funding Ukraine and you were starting wars.
It's such a basic request, what we're asking for.
But no, we're called anti-Semitic, we're called un-American, we're called isolationist.
You're not part of the...
We're not, we're supposed to be...
Bongino, he blocked you. Dan Bongino thinks you're un-American because you just want basic... Like, hey, I want
pedophiles to be arrested.
I want those files released.
I want them to executed on public platforms.
This is what I'm asking. I'm not asking for like a one-night stand with Tulsi Gabbard.
That's it.
I think we've exhausted.
We have.
I think it's become a little long in the tooth. I'm sorry, Tulsi. I don't want you to send any of the National Intelligence Agency. I respect you. I think you're beautiful.
On a funny note,
there was a great little photo. Like there was her last two appearances. It appears that stripe matches whatever color she's wearing. She was wearing a cream suit and the stripe in her hair, which it's like 101 Dalmatian hot. I don't know. There's something really... I'm effed up. I got to go see Dr. Finkelstein again and lay on a couch and tell him it all started when I was 3 years old. But I mean, it's just like her stripe is matching the suits. Then she had a gray suit and the stripe was more gray. Then she wore a white suit and it was more white. And every time I'm looking at the photo, I'm like, oh my God, the stripe is so sexy. And people are like, what is wrong with you? I go, I don't know. There's a whole lot.
I'll leave you guys on a funny note regarding the, what we want for pedophiles and stuff like that, to be arrested and killed and stuff. I love this segment that Steven Crowd did in his show, like in 2021 or something like that. I think it was 2020, 2021. I think it was 2021. It was so funny. They were reacting to a news report. I think the New York Times or CNN was like, right-wing commentator Steven Crowder wants to gather pedophiles up and lynch them. I forget what the report said. It was something bogus like that. Like, I don't know. He was saying like we need to get rid of pedophiles or something like that. And they're trying to frame it as a bad thing, like he said this when he really didn't say it. And he goes, guys, CNN, if the claim was true, and I said that I just want to lure pedophiles to this ring and hang them up. If I'm trying to lure pedophiles to kill them, don't give them a heads up.
Yeah, that's probably a bad idea. Why would you do that and give them a little leeway and previous knowledge of your intent? Yeah, that's not a good thing.
No,
we will come back next week. We're going to talk about a little politics. Maybe we mix some other stuff in there. I don't know. We don't have a movie to watch, so there's no movie review.
We don't. We will have a movie to watch. We actually don't really have one until like the end of the month, until January 30th.
That's what I thought.
So Morgan and I have one movie, and then you, me, and Morgan, and actually Patrick all have a movie too, which is Shelter. But the reason why I say Morgan and I, and actually Patrick, have a movie, and if you're interested in joining us for this, you can. There is a movie coming out by one of our video game streamers. He's actually debuting his first movie that he directed and is acting in. His name's Markiplier. He's coming out with a movie called Iron Lung, based on a video game called Iron Lung.
Really?
The same day that Shelter with Jason Statham is coming out.
Ooh,
and
yeah, I can't wait for that.
I can't. I love Jason Statham. Yeah. I love his movies. That is one. If I had to pick any category, like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna watch everything with him. Now, I'll be objective and say, like, hey, one is significantly better than the other. I will even admit, hey, didn't care for this movie. I will gobble up how women gobble up like Grey's Anatomy and Netflix stuff. I will gobble up Jason Statham movies any point.
I'm 100% with you.
Just because it's just good entertainment, which is what it's supposed to be.
I agree wholeheartedly. So we'll come back next week. These were great shows.
Yeah, we
had the Qatar issue. The Kickback King is still in action. My boy Donnie is like really,
and then the same administration, and then the same administration who arguably, again, to the general public, lost the an entire election because of a problem that escalated because of someone that they appointed, and now that the person that wants to go after the person that cost him one election is now being bought by the same administration.
Yeah.
Going after someone who, again, was a result of losing in the election because of how they handled one of the biggest pandemics of all time. It's just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous all the way around.
I can't.
I've never been more, and there's what I always remind myself is in every situation in life, you're probably the same, maybe in different levels of gratitude or just in certain situations. But I always try to find the silver lining.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think all positive people do, or all good people do.
Sure.
There is 3 more years. I mean, but what I'm afraid of, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse.
And I
mean, can it get better? I'm hoping. But I mean, nothing in the last 6 months has showed me that he cares at all about the middle class. That's a real problem. I mean, and his we can't even go into that because we'll be here all night, and it's like literally 20 degrees in the barn. But I mean, it's like, you signed another bill, like trying to get the defense budget ballooned up to for 2027 to $1.5 trillion. It's already at 950 billion. We'll just say $1 trillion now. So now you want to add on another 500 billion? You were supposed to reduce the budget by 500 billion. We were supposed to be at 500 billion. And it ballooned up, and now you want to create an even bigger defense budget. Why? Why are you doing this? What is going on here? Everything is not what you ran on. And I can't believe there are supporters still, like Conservative Inc., Dinesh, everybody else, that sit there and go, well, this is the reason he's doing it, and he's doing the right thing. How can you say that? You supported him, and he's doing the exact opposite of what he said.
Because both sides suffer from the same problem. This is why I got involved in politics in 2017, when I did not want to, because I hate... the topic itself, politics, if you compare, hey, here's why I like video games, here's why I like movies, here's why you like sports, here's why I like business.
Sure.
If I had to choose between business, gaming, media, movies, and politics is the most boring field to get into. But I got involved because one side was not holding stuff to a standard that they were trying to hold the other side. So I'm like, wait. It's okay for you to do it, and it's not okay for them to do it. I'm like, no, miss me with that. You don't get to say it's okay for you to do something, but I can't. No, just be fair, be consistent. Is it okay for example, I like how people say, Trump is the dictator for deporting these people. I'm like, did you guys forget that Obama has deported the most people out of any, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the research guy, He's deported the most people out of any American president.
He deported, Barack Obama deported more people than if you add up Trump, Clinton, and George W. That's a big statement.
A Democrat deported more people
Than those three presidents, not on an isolated bit. You add all three of Clinton,
and that's current
W,
counting Trump's current
and
stats.
Trump's current stats. Barack still blows them away.
Yeah, he was called the deporter in chief, and yet, where's the? Oh, Obama was. So again, all I'm asking, guys, people on the left, people on the right, I'm just asking for consistency. Is it bad for them to do it, just like it's bad for you to do it?
You're not.
We're not going to get that.
No, so it's leading you and me both, and I'm hoping for the general public as more and more people investigate, listen, and just search out truth. I think it's leading us to the middle, and I hope there's like a libertarian, if it is the Libertarian Party, or if it's a party like that, that emerges for that belly of the middle class, the moderate people that just want a normal life, and screw this conservative ink, the MAGA. Okay, you're America first. This is what America first is. I don't want any part of that. And guess what? We have been on this train. I don't want any part of the woke left. I want any part of that. I want like a. And
I'm still arguing with
Democrat. There's awesome Democrats like Dean Phillips. There's some great Republicans, libertarians. I mean, he's a libertarian at heart, but he's a registered Republican. Rand Paul. Let's get those people, like a Dean Phillips. Let's get a Rand Paul. Let's get those people in charge, because then we'll be in a good situation.
I'm gonna end
right now. We have a maniac, and before that, we had a corpse.
Yep.
And we're really in a bad spot.
I'm gonna end on a positive note in this, and that'll be it. I'll say this: I'm glad we're doing what we're doing with the show, because I forget who it was. I mentioned how the guy I like to watch. Shout out to you, man. I like your gaming channel and your main channel with your wife. Congrats to you guys. And by the way, his wife was being with CNN, a former liberal. Now they are considered a conservative family. Right. Clayton Morris, a guy on the show. I don't know. I forget his name. I think he he does like the equipment and stuff, like, you know, how it's just us two doing the whole thing. Well, they have a guy for equipment, and then they talk in the background, stuff like that. But he said, I think he had met Ron Paul, like a little while ago, and say he's just a great guy, whatever. And he said, you know, I really want to get into politics. I want to try and make a change. And Ron Paul said, don't get involved in politics. You're not going to change anything. Get involved in media. And I think that's absolutely correct.
What a great...
And I think that we are doing the industry justice by, instead of like, you know, I said running for a senator or a mayor or a president or something, what we're doing is, who knows, in the long run, is probably going to be more effective than if I were to try to run for mayor of Ohio. Good luck with that.
Yeah, no. What we're doing is just trying to like get people to expose people to ideas, opinions, and most of all, information.
And honestly,
and just try to like, you know, talk about things, because I still think, even though the right, even though the left, they gross me in terms of their ideology, they're both way off the reservation. We need to talk about this stuff, because you have a country at stake. If this thing goes down the toilet, I mean, where else are you going to move on planet Earth?
And that's why, guess what, Fletch?
You need freedom. You need a country that is you need this. This is why it's the mascot. You need a beacon of freedom around the world.
Most commentators, they change like their logo, or they'll change a little bit, like tune it up or something. I can tell you this right now. We might work on the title, maybe. Like, maybe we might change the name to like the F.A.N show, or, and that's it, not American, whatever. The picture's not changing. The American flag thing, this is not changing. It might be in a smaller format. It might have the title over the head, not like this, but like on the eagle's head. We might do something like that in the future. But the eagle is not changing, and the American flag is not changing, because that is what we represent. We represent the average American, and that is what we need.
What about the Fletch is available on single show? That's it.
Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week.